Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies. Chief, it's good to have you here before the committee today to discuss the President's FY26 budget request for the U.S. Forest Service. We appreciate you joining us. I was very pleased to have the opportunity to visit with you earlier about not only the important work that the Forest Service does around the country, but what it means to us in Alaska. But it is clearly an important role when we think about supporting our nation's timber and mineral industry, providing recreational opportunities to tens of millions of Americans, generating billions of dollars in economic output. So again, thank you for the chance to talk to you about many of these things, everything from wildfire to timber to recreation, workforce. It was good. It was a good conversation. The President's budget request proposes a drastic reorganization of our nation's wildfire capabilities, transfers the bulk of the wildfire personnel and activities from the Forest Service to a newly created U.S. Wildland Fire Service located within the Department of Interior. So this subcommittee has always paid a great deal of attention to wildfire preparedness and suppression. We do it on a very bipartisan basis. This is one of those things that we all come to the table to talk about. And yet, our forests continue to struggle. The costs keep escalating. And so I agree. The problem calls out for new ideas, for greater efficiency. But I'm concerned about the proposal that we have because it upends your agency and its relationship to fire and forest management. And for all I know, it may be a good thing. This may be exactly the right approach, but I'd like to hear from you today about how the administration envisions this whole restructuring working and really what it means to the Forest Service as an agency. At the same time that we're having this hearing, Secretary Burgum, Secretary of the Interior, is over at the Energy Committee in a full committee hearing, and these are the same kind of questions that he's getting. So I'm going to have a chance. I think both of us are going to be popping in and out of various committees here this morning, but that's one of the things that I want to ask the Secretary about. The President has also set out an ambitious agenda on natural resources development, including focusing on increased timber production and mineral development from our nation's forests. Now, I'm supportive of the endeavor. We want to be a partner in achieving many of these goals, but it's not you and I that are going to make that happen. It's going to be workforce capacity, and that's something that I continue to have concerns about. Turning to Alaska and resource development, I want to thank President Trump and you for recognizing Alaska's amazing natural resource potential. We've got our Alaska-specific executive order. There's other EOs nationally that we can benefit from, including the one on timber. You know, we've had this conversation. Alaska hosts two national forests. They just happen to be the largest in our country, and yet the Chugach doesn't even have an allowable sale quantity for timber. The Tongass's is so dismal, it probably ranks last in the nation. So whatever we can do to bolster our nation's timber production would be important to my home state. We've also got major mineral potential, but without some level of flexibility within the roadless rule, it's almost impossible to realize that. So we fight this view or this perspective that some have that our state is just some giant national park, some wilderness area that needs to be viewed from afar and not touched. So we want to work with you on some of these things. The Forest Service National Forest System also plays a very key role in recreation and tourism, of course. Record visitation levels to our public lands. We want to encourage that, but it's imperative that we not discount the economic impacts that this can have on the economies of our local rural communities. I think it's critical that the Forest Service assets like trails and public use cabins, visitor center, have the staffing that they need to do right by these public facilities. We've really got to have a better understanding of the role that that the Tongass plays in all of this. Forest Service really holds the key to the entire region's economy. As I shared with you, this isn't a part of the state where I was born. I spent my early years right up until high school living in the southeastern area. It is all, every community is in the Tongass National Forest. We're surrounded by our national forest. I was born in the Tongass National Forest. Just 1% of this part of the state's in private hands. National forests and everything from local tour guide permits, subsistence activities, issuance of and maintaining of utility right-of-ways, economic development, these are all contingent on us having a federal partner who's willing to work with the people and the industries who live and work in the region. A failure by the service to maintain routine business operations, whether through inadequate staffing or budget, I think is an abdication of responsibility, and it doesn't do anything except punish the communities and the citizens who live in or near our national forests and restrict their economic opportunities. I've shared the story with you of a Mendenhall Glacier. This is managed by our National Forest Service. It's one of our most popular tourist attractions in Southeast Alaska, receiving over 1 million visitors in 2023 and more than 25,000 visitors daily during the summer period. This is so critical to the city and borough of Juneau. We've got a great work relationship with the Tlingit and Haida tribes. They're at Mendenhall with a co-stewardship agreement with the Forest Service. That's really important. I was there just a few weeks ago out at the Visitors Center and talked with one of your great Forest Service employees, and I have to tell you, the morale is shot. People are trying to figure it out, and they're doing good work, and they're proud of the work that they're doing, but it is hard on them right now. I'm also concerned about other aspects of the budget proposal, the proposed elimination of the state, private, and local forestry, as well as forest rangeland research accounts. I get the fact that we've got to make some hard budgetary decisions as we're dealing with deficits. But I think that there are many members of this committee who feel strongly about some of the programs within those accounts. I for one, don't understand the cuts to state and volunteer fire capacity grants. This helps bolster the fire response in so many rural areas of the country. I think oftentimes the beneficiaries of these funds are the initial responders to fires that occur on federal land. So it seems to me that cuts like this actually run counter to the committee's continued push to increase our wildfire resilience and response. I'm also concerned the budget proposes to reduce the service's capacity to work cooperatively with states, tribes, and local governments on the issue of invasive species. And that's something, again, we talk a lot about on a bipartisan basis here, because invasive species don't recognize property boundaries. They don't care whether you're a red state or a blue state. We're seeing the threat of these invasive insects and pests threaten the health of our nation's forests and grasslands. I think the Forest Service has been a great partner to many of the states and our local communities that face these threats, and the elimination of these programs in the Forest Service proposed budget has left the same states and communities struggling to understand how they're going to be able to do this alone. I don't want to just be all about complaining. I'm noting the challenges that we have within the budget. I know you know it. And that's why I'm pleased that you are here with the Forest Service. I'm looking forward to just kind of having a shift in attitude about what's going on in Alaska. I want people back home to view the Forest Service as a willing partner, a partner with us in so many of these endeavors that are so important to our extraordinary public lands. I look forward to your comments here this morning, and again, your continued partnership. And with that, I turn to my colleague from Oregon,